Hello everyone and welcome back to another math video. Today we're going to be looking at how do you graph linear inequalities. So similar to this problem that you see up on the screen here. Just a reminder, this is the speedrun version, so we're going to go through it pretty quickly. If you'd like the normal lesson, I will link that in the description below. All right, your Ricasso Recap starts now. In the next 30 seconds, let's talk about what you need to know before you start this lesson. Firstly, you should know how to graph horizontal and vertical lines. Secondly, you should know how to solve linear inequalities and when you should reverse the inequality, stuff like that. And lastly, you should know how to write an inequality when given a graph, so using rise over run to get the slope, using the y-intercept, okay, all of that. If you do not know these three things, please do not start this lesson. Please go watch the refresher videos that I will link in the description below, and then come back to the lesson. All right, new lesson starts now. Let's go. So it says, graph this inequality, y is greater than or equal to -3. So what we're going to do is let's graph it as if it was a normal line. So a normal line would be going through the y-axis at -3, okay, would look like this. Okay, but let's try and draw it a little straighter. Here we go. All right. Now, two things you have to pay attention to. Number one, this says y is greater than or equal to -3. If it has the line underneath, so like this or like this, then the line that you draw is going to be a solid line. Okay? However, if it is greater than or less than, your line will be a dashed line. Okay? So you have to pay attention to the inequality. So here we're going to do a solid line. Great. The other thing you have to pay attention to is this reads y is greater than or equal to -3. So you look at the y-axis. Which numbers are greater than or equal to -3? Well, you would go in this direction, right? -2, -1, 0. These numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And so the way you do this is you actually shade above the line here. So what that means is you shade above the line. I'm not going to shade this perfectly, but something along this idea. Okay, we shade above the line because it said y is greater than or equal to -3. Now for this problem, we need to put it in slope-intercept form so that we can graph it. So we should know already how to do that. And so I'm going to skip this work because we should know how to do it. All right, so here's what we get when we rearrange it. Okay, we put it in slope-intercept form. Remember, we had to reverse the inequality because we divide by a negative in the work. So now when we graph this, -4 is our y-intercept. We go up 1 over 3. We're going to use a dashed line because this does not have the line underneath. So dashed line, something like this, just as best we can. And now, remember we reversed the inequality when we solved this. And so this says y is less than. So less than means you shade below the line, right? If it was greater than, we shade above the line. If it's less than, we shade below. And so you're going to shade all, not on the line, shade all of this. Okay, as best you can. All right. Here is our cool clock for today, which means that it is time for you to practice what you just learned. Go ahead and pause the video and try these two problems on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause the video and we'll check your answers. Okay, now that you've had time to work these problems, let's check your solutions. Okay, for the first problem, should have been a dashed line, and you should have shaded to the right because it says greater than -1. And for the second problem, should have been a dashed line as well, and you should have shaded below the line because it says y is less than. All right, that's it for today. I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.